So we finally have some more information about the ongoing incident that was circulating widely on social media earlier on today, coming from the MATER hospital in Belfast. And I did a video on this earlier on. I was very open and transparent. I didn't know what was happening. I was looking at the footage that had been posted online. I was asking questions. I was asking why this hasn't been commented on larger social media platforms, mainstream media platforms, given that there were people in the area who didn't know what was happening. Traffic was being rediverted. We saw a cyclist grabbed by a PSNI, a police officer, and yanked towards the middle of the road, is what it looked like to me. So people were asking questions. And in the background of all this, there was a man standing against the fence or on the other side of a fence with what looked like a large implement in his hand. And people were asking questions. What is going on? Why are we not being informed as to the progress or the background to this incident? Because people don't know. People don't know. So now, finally, today being Monday, what date is it? I don't even know what date it is. Monday, the 30th of June, at 4:15 in the afternoon and 5 in the afternoon or the early evening, we finally get some updates from Belfast Live and the Irish News. And we're being told that the police or the PSNI say there is no risk. Not me, by the way. No risk, no reward. There's no risk to community, as video of man outside MATER Hospital circulated online. This happened this morning just after 7 a.m. Well, it's now 5 p.m. 5 p.m. And unless my mathematics is up the left, that's 10 hours. 10 hours it's taken for information to come out about this. And it's okay for them to say now that there's no risk to the community. The community didn't know that at 7 o'clock this morning. And that's the whole point of the video that I made earlier. Where's the information? People need to know. Is there a risk to public safety? Is it nothing to be concerned about? Why aren't police doing A, B, C, D? This could all have been put to bed, I'm sure, at least a few hours earlier than now. The incident happened on Monday morning after 7, and then there's a blurred out picture of a police officer standing on the road with the gentleman in question standing in the background, looking like he's either peering through a fence, through the fence, he's at this side of it, or he's peering through it towards the police officer. Okay, and despite the fact that the news or the police have asked people not to share footage, and there's nothing to see, there's nothing happened in the footage, but people were asking questions. So they've released another little shortened clip. I'm not going to replay the one that I did earlier, but here's the 10-second blurred version that they've put on their own website, the Irish News. This is it. This is what people were seeing. So there's a man in the background. He's standing there. What's he doing? What's he got in his hand? Why are the police blocking off the road? It's outside a hospital. Of course, people are going to ask questions. And this is the problem. This is the void that is there in the mainstream media reporting. Okay, and they say that people fill this void with lies and misinformation. And I'm sure there was a lot of speculation as to who this was, and a few videos were produced for clickbait. But if you go back and watch the one I walked through it and said, who is this guy? What's he doing? Why are the police there? Why aren't they acting? Is the road being blocked off? There's people crossing dangerously. There's a cyclist was pulled by this police officer in the foreground. Are these not reasonable questions to ask? Why should we have to wait 10 hours before we get an answer? Anything else would be told about it in the drop of a hat. So this is the scene. This is the scene. Of course people are going to ask questions. Of course people are going to ask questions about a scene like that. And this is finally, the headline has came out from Belfast Live, and some people left comments in that earlier video, said, why have they not commented on this? There's usually something out pretty quickly, at least to warn people, look, stay away from the area until this is resolved. We don't know what it is, but just stay away from the area, and or there's no threat. But this is only coming out today. Look at the timestamp, 4:20. 4:20. The time right now, at the time of recording, this is 20 to 6. So an hour and 20 minutes ago, and this happened at 7 o'clock this morning. MATER Hospital incident, a concern for safety, says PSNI. They issue statement after video of incident widely circulated. And again, we're told that it's not a community safety issue, but then we're told it's a concern for safety, but apparently not for the community, for the man in question. Police have released a statement following video circulating online showing a man outside the hospital. That's all it was. Nothing actually happened. And the whole thing about this, and I'm repeating it, why were people not told, or why were the police not communicating what was going on, or that this man was no threat at the time? At around 7 a.m. on Monday, that's this morning, police attended an incident. What was the incident? Was it him just standing at the fence? Had something happened before that? What was the incident? Outside the MATER Hospital, again, very busy hospital on a very busy road at 7 o'clock in the morning, the Crumlin Road in Belfast, North Belfast. In a statement, police have confirmed it was related to a concern for safety of a male. So now they're saying it was actually an incident and they were concerned for safety, but not of the public, of this man. And let me ask a reasonable question. How could anyone have known that there was no threat to them at that time, given the strange optics and the police presence there? There were at least 4 police officers there. How could anyone have possibly discerned at the time that there was so-called no threat to the public? How can they make a statement like that? Of course, it's reasonable to be wary, given everything else that's happening in the world at this time. So they were concerned for the safety of a male. That's the man at the fence. The individual was left in the care of medical staff. Where, in the MATER Hospital? Or was there another unit nearby that he was taken to? Police have appealed to the public to refrain from sharing misinformation or footage and stated there was no wider risk to the community. Well, I didn't share any misinformation. I was asking the questions that other outlets should have been asking, ones that are paid millions every year, generate millions in revenue to come up with information like this for the public. Excuse me for simply trying to get answers. Stated there was no risk to the wider communities. How can they say that? How can you tell what anyone's going to do? Doesn't matter who they are. You see a random man walking down the street, or a woman, or whoever, and they're acting erratically. How can you tell? No matter who they are, where they're from, how can you tell that they're not? How many stories have we seen recently where people were acting in a strange way and the next thing someone gets attacked? Of course, people are going to be cautious. Of course they are. A PSNI spokesman said the police are aware of footage circulating. Well, yes, confirm it's related to concern for safety of a male. He was left in the care of medical staff. And lastly, on this issue, we are aware of the speculation on social media regarding the nature of this incident. We'll then get into action quicker. Okay, don't leave it for 8 to 10 hours. Given the amount of access people have, I didn't see what other people were saying. I didn't bring any speculation to this. I was asking questions. I said, is this a safety concern? Is this a risk to the public? I don't know. We're not being told. We would like to reassure the public there was no risk. That's not me, by the way. No risk, no reward to the wider community. Well, okay. How many people will take that with a pinch of salt? With the benefit of hindsight. We would ask that people refrain from sharing information or footage out of respect for those involved. What about the cyclist? What about the cyclist who was yanked off his bike as he was cycling down with a set of headphones like this on, seen the cop shouting at him, waving at him, gesticulating at him. He didn't even see this guy. Next thing, the cop, you can see it, he grabbed the handlebars of the bike clearly and pulled him. A car passed in between the person filming this and the cyclist. Next thing we saw him, he was down on one foot. So anyway, Thankfully, thankfully, finally, information has been released. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Thankfully, this is now past. Will we hear the end of it? I don't know. Thanks for doing your job, mainstream media. Thanks for doing your job, albeit 8 to 10 hours behind everybody else. This is why independent platforms need support. So if you like this video, share it, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, consider doing so. It's called No Risk, No Reward Media. It's just little old me sitting here trying to make sense of this crazy world we're living in, documenting the shenanigans and the skullduggery that's underfoot day and daily on the island of Ireland, north, south, east, west, and even Monaghan, almost somewhere in the middle. So for now, anyway, I'm Rick Munn, over and out.